Good morning, friends. Today we'll have the second session of 3Z interview questions. Starting from what are the active set, monitor set, and the detected set, we'll start from this question. So, active set is what we measure in the field test measurements in the drive test normally. The set of cells which the UE is currently connected or communicating with. uh, Drive test usually show them as a scrambling code or the pilot, but they're actually cells. So those are the active cells, or the cells we are connected parallelly, that is active set size. And the monitored sets are the cells which is known to the network, and the UV monitors them all the time. And when some event triggered or some threshold crossed, they may be added to the active sets also. So monitored sets are the cells which are monitored by the UE and which are known to the network. And what is detected sets? Detected sets are those cells which the network do not know about. The UE the UE has detected, and it again communicate to the network that these are the cells I have detected, which is not available in the network list. So those are the detected sets. So after we notice some detected set, we should add in the network if there are worthy. So that's all about the active sets, monitored sets, and detected sets. Then the second most popular question for today, like what is the major difference in the link budgets between UMTS and GSM or TDMI? So we have to understand 3Z is a power limited and interference limited system. So in GSM, we normally in the link budget we take the voice into consideration, and we do the calculation and we get the cell radius. In 3Z it's quite different, as we use the same frequency, we share the same power from the node B in node B. So for different kind of services like voice or data or video or HSTPA or HSCPA, we are having different link budgets. So that is only because we have one frequency which we share with ourselves, and we have limited power also. Power is also limited. Each service has a different EBNO target and requirement. In VMTS, we have to consider the target traffic load also. We'll have to add a noise rise margin, and in GSM you may have a slightly interference margin, but not normally related to traffic. So that is again important in 3Z. In UMTS, some services like voice will show up as uplink limited, but other services like HSTPA or 384 kbps, the R99 services, they are shown as downlink limited services. In UMTS, you usually have to consider all the users use the same power from the BTS or the node B. Therefore, the more number of users, the lower the maximum power available for a new user or the users, maximum power per connection also. So this is the important differentiation between 3Z and 2Z link budget calculation, and these are the factors we should consider while doing the link budgeting in GSM or 2Z technology and the 3Z technology. And the main point being 3Z is a power and interference limited system. Then one more important question coming to my mind: what is shadow fading margin in 3Z, and what factors does it depend on? So shadow fading margin is a important factor while calculating the link budget in 3Z. The shadow fading margin is dependent on the target percentage area, like what percentage of area we are targeting to give the service, or we are taking into consideration while doing this link budget calculation. The propagation model, what kind of propagation model we are using, and the standard deviation for the log normal shadowing, usually the same as a model standard deviation if the fast fading effects are removed, considering we don't have any fast fading effect due to fast power control used in 3G. So the shadow fade margin is an added margin placed in link budget because we need to give a guaranteed level of services to the users and can be offered in a worst case also. That's why we add the this shadow fade margin. So the next question you may face sometimes is what is a typical maximum active set size and what needs to be considered when setting this? Okay, so typical or the maximum active set size is 3 to 4, but make sure you are having least number of active set pilots or cells, because that will increase your IUB signaling also. It will decrease the signaling load, because parallelly when you are connected with 3 or more base stations, you are wasting the signaling load. So the larger the active set size, the more likely it is that IUB link efficiency is reduced. So that should be kept in mind. Then the last one for today, what are the typically the requirement for a cell to be added or removed or replaced in the active set size? So here comes into account the events, the 3Z events. We have a different session in 3Z events. You can check that out also in the other videos. So for addition, one event comes into account. Candidate cells need to be have an EC I0 value that is within a T-add threshold of the primary to be added in the one event. You should have to pass this TR threshold for a specific time hysteresis. That is again important. You should have the EC I0 value better for a typical time, let's say 300 milliseconds or 600 milliseconds. Then only you can add it into the network active set size. For removal, event 1B comes into account. Cell needs to have EC I0 lower than T trough margin for a specific time hysteresis. For replacement or 1C event, cell needs to have a EC I0 better than the host cell in the active set by the T replace and for a specific time, time hysteresis. So these are the parameters and the events occurs when we add, remove or replace any member in the active set. That's all for today, and in the next video will come with some more questions and answers also. Keep watching. Thank you so much.